Good morning, students. You're welcome to another literature class. With you again today is Mrs. Abaza Vivian. For our learning objective today, by the end of the class, the students will be able to 1. Discuss the scenes and actions that take place in Act 1, Scenes 1 and 2, and 2. Identify the characters in Act 1, Scenes 1 and 2. Before we continue, let us have a reflection on our first lesson, which is the plot summary of the Midsummer Night's Dream. I hope you remember the story. I hope you also did your assignment. Remember, I had asked you to read Act 1, Scenes 1 and 2 for this particular lesson. And so, for this class, I want us to look at Act 1, Scenes 1 and 2 from two different perspectives. 1, the places where the actions take place, and 2, the characters that feature in this act. Now, the actions take place in 3 different places. The first place is Duke's house, then Athenian Street, and then the last place is the Cottage of Pizza. Then let's look at the Duke's house. The play actually begins at the Duke's house, where we are introduced to Theseus, the Duke of Athens, with his wife Hippolyta, where they are making preparation for their marriage that is supposed to be in 4 days' time. Then we are also introduced to Philostrate, whom the Duke calls in to give instruction concerning the celebrations and entertainment on his wedding day, as he wants his people to be well entertained. And then, while they are discussing, we are also introduced to Egeus, who is an Athenian nobleman. He enters with his daughter Hermia, then Demetrius and Lysander. These 4 come in to meet the Duke for settlement on Hermia's refusal to marry Demetrius, the gentleman chosen for her by her father. Remember also, we had mentioned before in our previous class that it is a taboo or a crime punishable by death for a girl to refuse to marry the man chosen for her by her father. And so, these 4 come in, and the two men also tell the king they proclaim their love to Hermia. But the king, or the Duke, being a just man, tries to give Hermia a leeway out. He asks her to take 4 days, gives her 4 days to decide either to obey her father and marry Demetrius or to go to the convent. Now, at this point, we are introduced softly to Shakespeare's portrayal of the lovers as a group out of balance. This creates tension in the play, brings about tension in the play, because 4 lovers ordinarily should form 2 couples, because the play tells us that there are presents 4 lovers to us: Hermia and Helena, Demetrius and Lysander. So ordinarily there should be 4 couples. But rather, what do we have here? We have the 2 men falling in love with only one of the ladies, Hermia, leaving Helena out of balance and alone. No wonder she is jealous of her best friend, Hermia. After the king's judgment, all leave, except Lysander and Hermia, who are presented at a corner at the Duke's place, where they stay to discuss and plan their elopement. Here we are presented with Lysander telling Hermia about a rich aunt who lives in a very far away place, and they decide to elope the next day to go to her place and marry there. So at this point, this brings an end the scene that takes place at the Duke's place. Then we are presented, the next scene takes place at the street, an Athenian street. So as Lysander and Hermia walk home along the street, they come across Helena, who is Hermia's best friend. And Hermia greets her, calls her fair Helena, and Helena gets angry, asking her why should she call her fair. But for if she is fair, Demetrius would have noticed her beauty. Demetrius will not be rejecting her, but rather she is the one that is fair, for the two men are in love with her. Demetrius, despite the coldness of Hermia towards him, still only ignores Helena and then declares his love for Hermia. And so Helena is very, very angry and very jealous and tells her friend that she is not fair. She shouldn't call her fair, for she is not beautiful. Otherwise, Demetrius would have noticed her and loved her. So Hermia and Lysander, in order to console her and pacify her not to worry so much about losing Demetrius, let her into their secret of elopement. So after they exchange pleasantries, they depart. Helena goes her way, and instead of keeping her friend's secret, in order to show Demetrius, prove her love to Demetrius and loyalty to him, reveals their secret. But that is by the way, story for another time. But their parting here brings an end to the actions that take place on Arterian Street. It's a very short scene. Then the last scene we see is the cottage of Peter Queen's, the action that takes place at Peter Queen's cottage. Here we meet a group of local laborers who come together to make plan to present a play for their Duke on his wedding day. And they want this to be like a present or a gift, and they want it to be a secret that they will only present on that day. And the leader of this group is Peter Queen's. So they meet at his place to share their parts, to take their different parts. And the title of the play they want to act is The Most Lamentable Comedy and the Most Cruel Death of Primus and Thisbe. So after their discussion, they decide to meet the next day in the woods so as to keep their drama a secret, and also in order not to be disturbed or disturb anybody. And this brings an end the actions that take place in Act 1, Scenes 1 and 2. Now, let us look at the characters that feature in this act. The first character we meet is Theseus, who is the Duke of Athens, and then followed by his wife-to-be, Hippolyta, the Queen of the Amazons. Then we have Philostrate, the King's or the Duke's Reveal. Then we have Egeus, Athenian nobleman, and we have Hermia, his daughter. We have Helena, her best friend, Hermia's best friend, and then we have Lysander, Hermia's lover, whom she decides who she wants to marry and also elope with. Then we have Demetrius, the gentleman that Egeus wants Hermia to marry, and who incidentally Helena is in love with. And then we have Peter Queen's, the leader of the workers, and we have Nick Bottom, and we have Francis Flute, Robin Stavlin, Tom Snot, and Snog. These are the characters that feature in this act 1, Scenes 1 and 2. Now, my children, my dear students, I want you to remember and bear in mind that in your exams, that questions from Shakespearean books, you don't have essay questions, are not essay questions at all. They are objective questions and mostly content questions. And so I advise you to read the book. Read the text very well, please, my students. Read it, try to learn or cram some quotations. Know who said what. Who are the people around when that statement is made? Why is the statement made? And the meaning of certain quotations in the statement. And what even at times, even what leads to the statement that is made. These are the things you have to look out for. By the time, I bet you, if you read the text and read it very well, trying to cram some of the quotations, and also knowing the characters, what they said, the different parts they play, you will be able to do very, very well in your exams. So this brings an end to today's lecture. It is a very short, the play is a very simple and short one. And so we are done with Act 1, Scenes 1 and 2. I want to give you an assignment again for our next topic, or our next class. Read Act 2, Scenes 1 and 2. And I'm sure if you really make out time to study the text, you will enjoy it because it is a love story. And I know you all enjoy reading love stories. So read this, digest it, and then you know that you are with your A's. And as you stay home, I beg you, I beg you to keep studying. Keep studying until we meet again. Have a good day. Bye.